welcome along to the second episode of the Kitroom podcast. I'm Martin O'Neill. With me today is Gary Flint, who couldn't put it past him, so he wants on the show every week. How are we doing, Gary?
Very well, Martin. How's yourself?
I'm very well, thanks very much. A bit rough at training the day, but because it was awfully cold. But apart from that, I'm good.
It was cold.
It was awfully cold. So, what have you been up to today?
Just obviously had the little kickers this morning, and then I got a chance to catch up with the Girls Academy for the last 15 minutes, and then some spend family time. We went to some pumpkin picking at Strathclyde Park, so it's highly recommended. It was good. So what about yourself?
Preparing this, mate.
Good.
Because I've only got one job, so I just did this. We were under 11s this morning, so that was quite good.
Good.
The girls are really developing really well, really quickly.
Yep, it seemed busy this morning, so good to see.
Yep. Going to cut to Carleen. We've got Carleen Dolan that was on the show last week. She's the head coach of the Girls Academy. She's going to be looking after some questions that we're getting through social media. So if you've got any questions that you want to put to us, the show is recorded and it goes out the next day. But any questions at all, get onto our Twitter. The details will come up just shortly. So hi Carleen, how are you doing?
Good, how are you?
I'm alright. I've not figured out how to get me and you on the TV screen at the same time, but we're happy that you put yourself forward to get involved. So thanks very much.
No problem. Anything to help out.
A woman of many words, as usual. Let's go. Who have we got on the show today, Gary?
So, show this week is the 2010 officials and coaches. So we have Jamie, Mary, Del and Stephen. So they take care of our 2010. So it's great to have them on the show tonight. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thanks a lot for coming on, guys. How are we all doing?
Thanks for having us.
Good, thanks.
They're quite scared. They're scared, aren't they? They're scared. They're like, what's happening here?
Fear to open their mouth. That's alright. That's fine, man. 2010's on Monday.
Wednesday.
Yep, same time as our 2014s.
That's that.
Good.
Right.
Yep. Brilliant. Thanks for coming on. Might seem a bit up and down just now until we kind of find our feet. But we'll just kind of fire right into it, and we'll see what people have been asking. Maybe you can chip in, have a wee discussion, and see where it goes for there.
Yeah, sounds good.
Ideal.
Yeah.
Right, we'll clip over to Carleen. Such a tech genius. Check this out. Right, Carleen, what's your first question?
Is it not coming up on the screen? Right, so this is just for everyone, so you can all just take shots each at answering. So what is your background? Is football came through your family, or is anybody interested in any other sports?
Brilliant. So who wants to take that one first? Jamie.
I'm happy to go. I see nobody else is jumping forward, so...
I should have. I'll forget the question by the time it comes to me.
So yeah, football is something I did from a young age. I played, whether I played in the garden and stuff like that, and then when I was about the age of the boys we were training just now, that's when I started playing. It was the bad old days of red ash and freezing cold and getting hit with miters and stuff like that. You could read the word mite on your leg for 2 weeks. So yeah, that was, and it was 11 aside and stuff. So it's really different to how it looks now. Football definitely passed down my family. I think before I was interviewed, I spoke about my papa, who was he definitely assures me he played at a decent level, and I'll take his word for it. I don't think he would tell me lies at 80 odd year old, but he was involved in Celtic Partick Thistle as well, so he was heavily into football, and I think probably that's where I kind of caught the bug, mostly from him. Other sports, not really, to be honest. I like F1. I'll kind of try anything really, but it's mostly football. You have to be honest.
Aye. They're for a totally football family.
Is that
Ideal. What about you, Stephen?
I very similar. The red ash, that certainly brings some memories back, some scarred knees. The shower afterwards was never fun either. So I think for me, I've always kind of tried different sports. I think football was always, being from the west of Scotland, coming from a family that was football daft, that was the obvious choice for me. Played football, not at a very good level. I was more like the hatchet centre back than your Virgil van Dijk these days. I think football for me became an obsession again through my wee boy Nathan, who plays for the 2010s, who wakes up and the first thing he talks about is football, and then he plays it all day and watches it all day and then talks about it in his sleep during the night. So football daft in this house, mate.
And you into any other sports at all?
I'm a dab hand at badminton, believe it or not.
I
always see myself as a bit of a
keep the racket down. Keep the racket down the two user.
Aye. But other than that, I mean, I watch other sports, but as Jamie said, it just always leads back to football at some point.
Aye, it definitely does. Definitely, I've seen that team running through here. Mary, how did you get involved with the club?
It was Gary's fault. Personally, I must admit, personally, football's not my bag. I play netball and have done since I was younger. I'm actually a netball coach, but I've got 3 boys and 3 brothers, and unfortunately, football is life. So you just need to go on with it. We've just come from. The boys are coming from different places, though, to be fair. I've got one in academy. The older one played till he was 14, then decided to give it up. It was actually good, to be fair, so I was quite surprised at that. Middle one plays with academy, and obviously Evans in the Coatbridge Rovers. So I'm learning about football, but I keep saying that I would coach the boy on fast feet. That's as good as it gets for netball, but yeah. But I don't know if I've been thrust into football as opposed to wanting to be anywhere near football. I do love it though, like seeing the kids and seeing their enjoyment. That's what it's all about, and I think that makes it's a huge thing. And Evan loves the club, so.
Aye. It tells a wee bit about your netball then. Whereabout is it you coach?
So it's adults just now, but part of our development was that we were supposed to be taking on the kids as of September this year. So plans have changed slightly. Development plan had to get updated, but it's in Christen and it's bounced back to netball. So it's anybody over the age of 18. Netball's a funny sport because unlike football, it's not really got the grant funding that comes with it. So coming from school, there's not really that place, or there wasn't previously, whereas Netball Scotland's worked on that transition from when you turn 18, then there's a place for you to go. So bounce back to netball is there just now. There's also the junior netball clubs, which is what we're going to hopefully expand into as well. It'll be next year now, but we'll get there. We'll get there in the end. But it's I suppose, same vision but different sport.
Do you play it yourself?
Yes. I do. I wouldn't say particularly well anymore. I think it's the unfortunate truth is when you become an adult and get older, your brain's telling your body to do something, but it doesn't really respond in the same way as whenever you were younger. But no, I do. I love it. And I love the club. It's that whole club ethos and giving a place for people to actually come. And there's a social side of it as well. It's not just about the netball, to be fair. Everybody's exceptionally friendly at the club that we're at as well. And yeah, it's a great thing to be involved in as well.
And what position do you hold?
Shooter, goal attack, goal shooter, and I'm the vice chair of the club, so that's the position in the club. But I'm a shooter.
A shooter.
Definitely not a centre. 100% shooter.
Not so much.
I'm under pressure then, eh?
But no, I must admit, I do. Coatbridge Rovers is a fantastic club, so Gary, you're doing excellent.
No, thanks, mate.
Dale, what about you with the question that Carleen had asked? What's your background in football or come a football family?
Much the same as the other guys. I played football a wee bit when I was younger. Then obviously a bit older, 5 or 6, things like that. I really get to the coaching side of it when Ethan joined Moss End, 2010. But obviously we want to move to a different. We started a different team, View Park United, and unfortunately due to COVID, that obviously failed. So we were looking for a better team, for a different team for Ethan to play in, and obviously a couple of the boys had left View Park to join yourselves and had heard really good things about it. So luckily enough, there was a space there for Ethan, and obviously got to know Jamie and Stephen a bit, and they came forward and asked did they want to help out with the coaching. And I'll be honest with you, it's been what a difference in seeing the setup with Coatbridge than the other two teams I've helped coach. Everyone seems a bit more organised, like that, so it's really, really good.
Brilliant.
Good.
Are you, got any other sports? You into any sports at all?
I used to play squash quite a bit, but
Squash?
I was a bit of a bad temper with that, so I had to gear it up, same as football.
Gary's brain's going for a joke. He's thinking.
No, I'm not.
He's thinking hard.
I'm not.
I mean, I had to gear the football up as well because I was bad temper in the defence, so I ended up coming home every week with bloodied knees and broken bones, so I had to give it up.
That's what squash is for, though, isn't it? Getting the temper out.
But no, I had to gear it up as well. Just a bit bad tempered myself, so I prefer just to watch now.
Aye, good stuff. So we're going to move on to the next question now, but it goes without saying, Mary, that anything that goes here can relate to netball as well. So, you know, if you can't relate it to the secretarial position at the job, so please don't feel left out.
No, I must admit I don't. See, having 3 boys, my wee brother played as well. You get capped for Scotland, that was my big news, but we're used to football. Football is in the family, so no, I must admit, it's just seeing the happiness in the kids' faces, so...
Aye.
Everybody gets a cap for Scotland these days, do they not?
Yes. Yeah.
I can even have got one. So
I'm just going to take. I'm going to take one of the sessions. The netball session.
I've got a few caps.
We should do that for a laugh. By the way, they'd be gobsmacked, wouldn't
they? Okay, let's get back to Carleen at the social media hub. Doing everything off professional now. Hi, Carleen. We're ready for the second question now. So, fire away.
Okay, so this can be anyone. So, Mary, if you want to speak about netball, so what is everybody's favourite moment as a coach?
What is everyone's favourite moment as a coach from themselves? Okay. Right, fire away.
Wait till I phone the coach. I need to phone coaches to come on first.
Yeah, doctor. We'll go with Stephen first. Stephen.
It's a difficult one. For me, it's a difficult one to actually pinpoint the moment, but I think when I came into Coatbridge, we were set up in 3 different teams, which me and Jamie kind of managed the middle team, and then there was a development team, say an intermediate, and then an advanced team. Not quite sure they were the levels, but let's just call it that for argument's sake. And then went through a transition period when me and Jamie kind of inherited the whole 2010 club, and people went their own ways into different coaching positions and moved on and so on. I think we went through quite a troubled time after that, trying to get buy-in from parents, get buy-in from kids, and there was a lot of change, which led to kids going and which led to kids feeling more like part of the club. So I think it wasn't at the start of this season, but probably at the start of the season before, there was just moments where we kind of looked at each other and went, "We've got this right. We've got this right, and we've got all the kids on side. We've got all the parents on side, and it became our club, so to speak."
Yep.
Whereas before, it was very much fighting battles left, right, and centre to get everyone on board. And I think that, thankfully, we've managed to retain the people we want to retain since then, and we've not really seen too much transition in the club since then, so we're pretty settled. And as Dale was saying there, we inherited four brilliant boys from another team that folded, which was testament to kind of what we had set up. And Dale mentioned himself that he's impressed with the setup and stuff, and I think that setup was something that was in a lot of time put into that setup, so that every kid felt that they had their part in the team, as opposed to being us against them within the same division, which it seemed to be before. So, as I says, I don't think there's a particular moment, but there's certainly been times where we went, do you know what, we've got it, we've got what we were looking for, and we share the same vision, and that's why we brought on Dale, because we feel like he'll share the same vision with us. And it's not just a matter of does anybody fancy coaching. We're very particular about who we want to bring in so that we can keep that ethos going long term for the boys.
Yep, and that's really important as a team to stick to that teamwork.
Yeah. What I've seen it's good to see what you're saying there, Stephen. I can see a massive, an overall club point of view. I can see how much it means to the kids and it means to you as coaches that he's a part of the club as well. I think what you're saying before, and the people that's obviously moved on to other pastures, I think they had different visions in terms of where they wanted to go, and yous have steadied the ship, and yous have built something that's rock there for the kids to build on, a platform. Also, you've brought in, as you say about the coaching capacity, you've brought in Dale, who's obviously going to make it even more stronger in terms of how you can take the 2010s forward to the next moment. So that itself, that wee proud moment there is space of time in terms of a wee short-term goal in terms of getting that ship steady very, very quickly, which he's have managed. And honestly, it's a credit to actually see the difference, even coming up to your training sessions. And even seeing the kids are actually now going, oh, there's such and such for Coatbridge Rovers 2012, there's such and such for Coatbridge Rovers 2008, or there's a coach for that team. So that's the kind of bond and the philosophy it should be. We should all know that, and we should all work together, and that's what you have achieved in a short space of time. So that wee small moment is cherished for you for life, and that wee aspect, because you've put something on for the kids that could have easily have just went the other way. It could have been pear-shaped and you could have had nothing, you know what I mean, and then you're left with all the kids with no football, you know what I mean. So well done.
No, cheers, mate.
Absolutely. Yep.
I think, well, Gary, just to add to that as well, taking a parent's hat as well. I suppose we've all got those two roles, but taking it from a parent's perspective without that obviously driving determination from the coaches, I see a massive difference in Evan in the confidence and just how much he's loving football and the game. And I think that's a big thing for a coach. It's about having that passion yourself and then passing that on and having the kids actually enjoy the sport that the coaches obviously enjoy, and clearly the coaches do enjoy it because they give so much to it.
Yeah, I think the biggest problem for me growing up as a kid is what I'm trying to prevent our kids having, which is everything was winning. Everything was about being the best player on the pitch. And for me, and I spoke to, I think I says to you at training the other night, Bill, and I says to you, Jamie, and I'm sure I says to you as well, Mary, I says, I cannot stand a lazy child. Like, I can understand kids at different fitness levels, but I would rather have a team full of kids that are passionate to help their team out, as opposed to be the most player on the pitch as well. And I don't think that was ever really taught to me. It was more about go out and win the game, and it doesn't matter what you do, just win. But I think actually teaching them that ethos of hard work makes everything else a little bit easier as well.
Yep, definitely.
What's your thoughts, Jamie?
So, I mean, all that stuff that Stephen's talked about, we invested a lot of time and probably sleepless nights and stuff like that, and all that side of it. But I'd probably say the small victories every time so it's a small victory, as in we've got a really diverse group of kids. We've got kids that have played since they were 4, and we've got kids that joined the club this year. And when you're coaching them and you just give them a little, you put something in their ear, you just tell them here's something to look at. And when you see that coming off, whether it's just, the kids that started this year, it could be simple as just, how to pass a ball, just simply how to make a simple pass, and just to see them picking up the technique and start doing that is amazing. Whereas some of the other kids, it's maybe something else, it's maybe a trick, or it's a step over, or it's something a bit more advanced, but
Yep.
But for each of those kids, when you see that you've sort of taken some time out with them, and then you see them, carry it out, they go away and they work on it. I mean, some of our kids have been fantastic. They've been away and they've worked on things, and you see a difference when they come back after lockdown because they've been working in really simple things we've been speaking to them about. So it's those little victories for me. That's the bit when I see it, and you see the kind of enjoyment in the kids' face as well, and the realisation that you're not just moaning at them or just telling them a lot of rubbish. It's something that can actually make a difference.
Would you say that would be the same for you then? Your best moment as a coach, or do you have a different one in mind?
I mean, they're definitely the moments when that's what they're the moments for me. That's the ones that are even just. I mean, we've had obviously one game. We've had a problem with games because we've got some kids out with the area, but those games that we had for the two teams, the kids were fantastic, and to see it all come together based on what we've been really working hard with them on, and there's a good team goal in there, and there was a bit of individual stuff, and those moments there, and to see the kids' enjoyment, that's the bit for me that keeps me going.
What about you, Mary? As we coaching netball, what's your, if you can?
I mean, coaching netball and obviously seeing it from the Coatbridge Rovers perspective, but it's that team spirit. I think it's encouraging the team spirit is a big thing, and I think certainly from the Coatbridge Rovers perspective, the 2010s really come together, and Jamie's saying about the games that they'd had, they loved the games and they come off smiling, but it wasn't really just about that. It was about that building up the relationships with them, and they were all coming off and congratulating each other, and it didn't matter whether they won, lost or drew. It was more so the kids were excited for each other to have been playing together. And I think from a coaching perspective, that is what you're wanting them. There's a friendship there. It's not just about the let's learn skills and let's win this game. So from a coaching perspective, actually standing back and watching, that's amazing, seeing that change, I suppose, in the kids.
Yeah, I saw a picture the other day. I can't remember where it was. I think it was online, and it's a wee boy from one team tying the laces and a wee boy from another team in the middle of a game, and they're just you wouldn't get that in my day. Certainly wouldn't. It's just
it was black and white in your day, was it not?
It was black and white, mate, and it was like clinky piano and ding 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 ding. Dale, I know you've been coaching was a short time, but do you go along the same lines as everybody else, or is there something that stands out specifically?
Well, also, I've coached for two other different teams already, and obviously, when I was in Moss End, things like that, you get a bit of satisfaction when you get to see a boy who maybe when he first starts can't kick a ball, can't make a pass, and then as you said before, like Jamie and Stephen said there, and Mary as well, about the boys bonding together. I see the short time Ethan's been in the team as well. You see that bond with the boys. They're all great lads, and you see them picking up stuff really, really quick, which is really, really good. And that's I enjoy watching them develop as they get that bit older and older, and their confidence getting better as well. And see, it's not just football. This stuff will take them out of their lives as well when they go to things like college and into a job and things like that. If they're building that confidence with boys and teaching them the right way to live, if you know what I mean, they'll take that into the future as well, and that's what I quite enjoy about it.
I think that's it's a great point what you've said there, Dale. I don't know if you listened to the show last week with Carleen and the Girls Academy coaches spoke about teaching them life skills. So what you are teaching them in a football park is small elements and what they're going to have for life in terms of their manners, how they're going to conduct themselves. You say confidence, how confident they're going to be. The kids don't want to turn up and stand and listen to a coach constantly just shouting at them, and then they take that negative effect away. That's the whole point of our ethos at the club in terms of creating a positive environment for the kids. See, if a kid makes a mistake, we could probably make two mistakes as coaches and adults as well in our job. So we've got to think of their thing. So that's the difference for some clubs we've obviously played against and some clubs that I've been involved in before, and you're like, nah, it's got to be a good environment for the kids to learn. So it's like an education. It's a learning environment for them to come along, learn their football, but they're overall they need to learn the life skills. So I've got a few proud moments in terms of for coaching wise. I think the big one for me is, I think somebody had already says it, in terms of you see a kid achieve something that they've maybe been working on for a long time, and it takes a while to get there, and see that delight when you see the kid actually achieve that wee one thing that you've asked them or they've asked themselves to work on. That's as a coach, that's a massive achievement. You see kids come through different stages of their career as well, and you see them going playing at top level, and that itself as well is like they're the role models for our generation of younger kids coming through. So I had a kid a few years ago, and he'd never played football before, and he was a swimmer. So his feet, you can imagine a swimmer's feet in terms of how strong they were, in terms of they were flappers, so they were just flapping constantly. And see, he wasn't a great footballer when he first came, but having that confidence in him, that wee instruction in terms of going and working on something as simple as just dribbling out of markers, go and get a ball, hit it against the wall, what we probably all done when we were younger as well. And to the kid's actually now playing at a decent level, and he's not really a kid anymore, he's actually 19, but he's still playing, and that was a kid that didn't start playing football until he was 14, 15. So he'd never kicked a ball before. He was a swimmer. His parents loved him to go swimming, which is great. He's involved in some sort of activity, but he chose upon himself when he got to a certain age. His friends at school played football, so he wanted to play football, and he's now still playing at a decent level. So we things like that, as a coaching point of view, when you see somebody achieve something, is massive. And that's what Yusuf says in terms of your moments as well. It's all different opinions. You know, you can see that we're all kind of on the same sheet in terms of how we've all got the same kind of ideas, the same philosophies, and we share the same kind of moments as well when you add them all together. So no, it was good to see some of the moments there that you were sharing.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's see what Carleen thinks. Carleen, you're a coach for the Girls Academy under 11s, under 9s as well. So what's your thoughts on your favourite moment?
I think what everyone says, when you tell someone to do something, those little things that you're helping them to do, and if that goes and works, that just makes you feel proud as a coach that you can tell them to do something and then they're then getting the praise and plaudits for it.
Yep, absolutely. And working with you alongside on the 2014s, it's in the Girls Academy as well. It's really quick as well. It's not like it's a long-term change. Some kids get it like that, and it's a massive moment for them. And knowing that it's you that's had that influence when they go, oh, that's how you do it.
Yeah,
makes a massive difference.
It does. It makes you feel proud as well. Shown, as Gary mentioned, I think we mentioned last week as well, it's not just all about football. It is teaching them life skills, and anything that I feel like I can take off from me and hand to them, it just makes me proud.
Yeah. Thanks very much. Right, okay, let's move on to the next question then, because we'll get quite a few. So next question.
Okay, so what is your philosophy for your players? And are all the 2010s coaches similar in terms of how they want to play?
Okay, this might get some fights going.
We've already had that fight.
Wants to go first?
No, we've already had that fight. It's fine. I think I won. Back to Stevens and them on a screen here, stand next to me.
I'm just going to leave now, right? Thanks for tonight, guys.
So what's your philosophy philosophy for coaching?
I mean,
I'll take this one. On you go, mate. On you go.
I was just going to say,
They're fighting already, look.
This is when I'm meant to jump in.
I think the first thing is we want to see the kids enjoy it, right? Whether it's a training session or whether it's a game, we want to see them enjoy it, because if they do that, they'll apply themselves.
Mm-hmm.
But in terms of, Stephen touched on it earlier on, I think our philosophy, because probably we're a bit is it fair to say we're limited in terms of ability ourselves, Stephen? Would that cover it? Some more limited than others.
You speak for you, I'll speak for me.
Right, I'm very limited in terms of ability then, right? Let's just put it out there. But I've got a lot of heart, and a good work ethic. You know, and that's what I want to see from the team. So I think that's what we've got. We want a team that's willing to work hard for the team, for each other, and just be the best they can be. And if they're having a bad game, you know, just keep trying, keep plugging away. You know, there's no doubt if you watch our teams now have got an identity, the way they're trying to play. They play football. We keep the ball moving, but it is really all about hard work. That's the first fundamental, I would say, and that's the identity I would like our teams to be recognised for.
Would you say the same, Stephen?
Yeah, definitely. I think we played against teams. We've seen teams. We've been involved in teams where, in the past, it's been a little bit thuggish, and it's just go out there and do whatever it takes to win. That's certainly not our approach. Everything in the way the 2010s work, it always leads back to respect. That's respect for yourself, respect for your coaches, respect for the opposition. But what we also want is we want to have an identity. We've got two teams at the moment, and both teams kind of mirror image each other in terms of how each other play. And what we also do is we speak to other kids that where they've got a player who plays in the same position as them for the other team and say, look, watch what he does or watch what he does, and kind of learn from each other from that way, because we want to keep that identity running across both teams. I think it goes back to what my point was in the last question, where my biggest pet peeve is not working hard. I think the work hard bit of it will help you in any walk of life, including football. So I think that's a big thing. And something that Jamie's brought into the club, actually, I'll give him a bit of credit. Something that I never really thought about too much until he kind of explained it to me was, when we're in training sessions and we're playing games and stuff, put kids into unorthodox positions that they're not used to, because I think it's very easy for kids and adults, for that matter, to think that someone else should do better in a position that they don't know. So what we do is we'll put a goalkeeper up front, we'll put a striker in goals, and let them see how difficult it actually is to play that position, because they just think it's easy to do it, but depending on the position you're on in the pitch, it brings different problems and complexities. So we put people in those positions so that they can understand and appreciate what other people have to deal with on a football pitch that they don't really know too much about. So yeah, I think ultimately it's work hard and do you know what, enjoy it, but also feel free to express yourself. I see too many coaches where a kid will try a trick and it doesn't pay off, and the first thing they'll do is jump down their throat. We want kids to try things, and do you know what, see if it didn't work and it maybe put the team in a difficult position, what you'd hope is that you can coach them how to learn from that as well. So I think just giving them a platform to be the best that they can be is the ultimate.
Yep. Gary, were you going to come in there? Sorry.
I was going to come in there.
Yep.
You touched on about players playing in different positions. I think it's good to see Jamie's listening to me for once. Kidding, Jamie. No.
Was there an idea? Oh, you stole that idea.
No,
moment, mate.
It was. No. I done I've been involved in football for a long time, and I done a study many moons ago. And it was about, in terms of your kids' mind growth set, in terms of them thinking that they've guaranteed that position, right? So it's great to see that you're putting the kids to the pitch where they've probably never played before. Speaking from my point of view, I don't really have a position for any of my kids in my team just now, right? Because we're only 2012s, so it's a rotational base. Everybody plays in different positions. But when I was doing the study, it was basically they're saying that you don't find your natural position until you're actually under 17. All right, under 17, under 18 football. So it's actually, I don't know if any of you were tuned in when we done the lockdown with the Craig Halkett. We had a professional guy on. So Craig was one of the kids that I had the fortunate enough to coach, and so Craig was an actual striker, and he was a top class striker, and you probably still see that he scores goals for Hearts still, and through his youth career he was always a striker, and he was the first name in the team sheet. He was up front. There was no guy. You didn't find him in another position. And then it was saying when he was on that call that when he went to Rangers, and the right back got an injury, so they had to come up with an idea to get another player to fill that position, and they never had the resources to bring another space to the game the following day. The manager at the time had said, Craig, I need you to go and play defence. Craig, one of the guys, that right, no bother, when am I playing? So he went in and played right back, and now he's on the verge of getting a Scotland call-up as a centre-half. He's went on and he's established himself in a career as a centre-half. So I think, looking at the different philosophies, I think it's about letting the kids express themselves in different positions, because you don't want an unhappy kid because they think, oh, I'm a defender, that's me, I just need to play defence now. Everybody's goal is they want to go and score goals, right? We all know that. Everybody wants to score goals. But you've got to think about the different aspects of different players playing in different positions. So give the kids that wee bit of education, what you are fantastically doing, and let them go and express themselves in different areas of the pitch, because that's the same again as about that learning skill for their life skills. You're giving them situations where they've got to adapt and come up with, right, how can I get out of this situation I'm being put in here? How do I play this position? So they've got that wee thinking cap on, going, right, how do I just think about maybe players that's played in that position. I need to think how he does that or how she does that. So that's the thing. It's a great thing that you have installed at the 2010s to do that, because the kids will then learn that they're not guaranteed that position to play. They could end up, you could call it on a Saturday morning when they're playing games and say, right, I need X, Y, and Z to go in defence, but you're normally a striker. So they're ready, they're game ready, and it's not a shell shock, and they don't go into the wee bubbles and get themselves upset because they don't know how to play it. So it's good that you are doing that. So it's good to bring it up, Stephen. Thanks.
No worries.
What about yourself, Mary? Can you relate to all this as far as your coaching and netball goes as well? Because, teamwork goes along, in every team game. You're looking at the kind of same values.
Yeah, and again, I know I keep throwing it back to the 2010s, but I suppose as a parent standing on the other side as well, Matt, and it's development. I think from our 2010 coaches, one of the main things is obviously the vested interest in each and every one of those children. You can certainly see that from the coaching style as well, and they're wanting to encourage the development. It's a difficult thing for a parent though, because you're saying, Gary, like, kids want to score goals. That's the position they want to be in. They want to be the striker, yep. And it is difficult coming from a parent's perspective, and I suppose stepping back and saying, well, if they're going and taking a chance as a goalie, then that might be what they're actually better developed at that point to do, because at the end of the day, all the kids are developing at different rates, and like you say, they're not actually going to naturally find their position until they are older, if they are going to even continue football. So it is a huge, I see that as being a massive benefit, certainly from the 2010 coaches, where they encourage that development, and I suppose teach them tactics. I think that is one of the things from my perspective, is that I don't know about football, and see, if I was to say that I did on this, I would get called up from my three boys to tell me she knows nothing. I'm still learning the offside rule, but what I'm learning really quickly, certainly from watching some of the training sessions, I can start seeing tactics getting used, and like movement and specific movements for the kids' perspective. And for me to see that as somebody who's standing on the sidelines, not actually knowing the game, is a huge compliment to the coaches.
Absolutely.
Yep, good.
Brilliant. We're going to move on. I know we've not covered everybody. We've got a lot of questions to get through within the hour. So let's go back over to Carleen. Hiya. You sitting all lonely there?
I know.
Right, we'll cut some of the questions for this week, and we'll bring them on next week. So let's see. Here we go.
Okay, so in the last year, have you seen any differences in terms of the players and the club as a whole? And obviously, Gary, if you want to relate to the 2012s, have you seen any difference in terms of your players and the whole club?
Okay. Gary?
I think for an overall club point of view, I think we've seen a massive development in terms of improvement across working relationships in terms of us all working together. I think just obviously the situation we've kind of been put in just now in terms of finding that Glasgow training centre for the kids that have been unfortunate to get put into that health board category. So I think the relationship in terms of an overall club point of view for coaches to working together, and then you now see the players actually working together. It's been fantastic. For an overall point of view for my 2012s, I've seen a massive improvement from us. We're now at the stage where we're supposed to be playing five-a-sides, but obviously the league have basically there's no fixtures allowed to kind of continue, so we've managed to get a couple of friendlies where we've still allowed the kids to play the five-a-sides because we don't want them to miss that part in the pathway where they're missing their super fives, because it is quite a big jump for going from four-a-side to five-a-side to seven-a-side. But for overall, for a point of view, we've brought in a couple of new players as well to enhance the squad, and it's been fantastic. We didn't really get a lot of time from obviously during lockdown, and kids have different situations where they don't feel comfy coming onto Zoom calls and things like that to do a wee training session. So we never really got a lot of time to communicate together. But we one of the main aspects was we actually taught them during lockdown about the difference from the five-a-sides for four-a-sides in terms of their gameplay, their shape, positions, and obviously we've got at our club we've got the number system where kids know where they're playing. When you tell them that number, they go and play in that specific position. So that's helped us very, very quickly when we went back from the four-a-sides to into the five-a-sides now. We now just obviously just rotate in terms of shouting numbers on. So there's been a massive difference from the 2012's point of view, but as I say, the overall club point of view, I can see a massive development in terms of how the teams are playing. And that comes down to what we were talking about there 2 seconds ago about philosophies. We've got a club philosophy where we want kids to come along and enjoy it and learn and develop at the kids will develop at different stages.
Yeah.
But it's how they develop is how we teach them. So an overall point of view for the club, it's been fantastic, and it's just down to the credit of the hard work of the coaching staff that we've got in place and the kids itself. So it's good to see. So no, that's my point of view.
And that's that. So that's my point of view, and that's the end of my story. Dale, let's bring you in, mate. How long has it you've been at the club?
So maybe just over a month now, I think it is.
Right, and I know the question was about a year, but can you relate to that and say,
as Steve was saying, there's 4 boys came through the club I was doing it before, and just the short time I've seen the boys, even Ethan for his sake, I've seen a difference in their playing and their confidence. It's a bit more, a bit more relaxed as well, which is good. Yep. It's a great thing. So even I've taken a wee step back, looked at me when maybe I was doing something wrong before. So even that as well. So a couple of times in the training, I've just sat back and watched what Jamie and Steve were doing with the boys as well.
So you feel you're learning off the system?
Up there, aye.
Yep.
Not meaning, but it's night and day for what I've seen. Because the first game they played against the first game I seen them play against Coatbridge, I was kidding on with Jamie. I was got to pull for it because it's the best I've ever seen him play football. I was like, why you never played like that for me before? So I wasn't too chuffed. I was ready to talk Jamie at that point. So no, but I see everyone at the club, what I've seen so far, even Ethan and my wife said as well, that it's such a great atmosphere. I see even the fact that you've got an app that you can tell with book in with the boys are playing and things like this, and like all this information. It's just it's so much different. It's something I've never seen before, so it's really good setup.
And a lot of it's about the club investment and the development of the kids and the coaches as well.
Right.
Out of Jamie and Stephen, who's been here the longest?
Jamie.
I've been in, I was coaching a bit longer than Stephen, but the two of us have been kind of in and around the club. So we've probably about the same time. I think Connor joined before Nathan did, but you've been here a long time as well as a parent and then as a coach, Stephen. Yeah.
Yeah, Nathan had to step away for a bit with some surgery he had going on, so I couldn't even I think he started when he was 6 or 7 potentially, but he had a year out and then he came back. So, who knows? The answer to that question is the answer. But
we'll toss a coin. Mate. Right, Jamie, you won. Well done, Jamie.
I think it might have been. I've been here the longest.
I was going to
No, as a parent, though, to be fair, not in the capacity that I stand in now.
Well, Mary, the capacity you stand in just now as a club secretary. So, what made you take this role up? What actually is it that you do for the club? What does your role entail?
That's a great question.
So,
what is it you have to do, Mary?
so I mediate between the two coaches, so I make sure that any of the arguments are amicable. So that's essentially my job. No, to be honest with you, I've noticed a massive difference in the last year, and I think that is just the hierarchy working differently. Like the coaching staff, you don't appreciate how much time and effort goes into volunteering whenever the guys are obviously putting their hand up to do the coaching, because it's not just about having the kids on the pitch and training the kids and teaching them how to play football. Essentially, there's all the extra things that come along with it, and I think that's like the organisation and collection of fees, and there's loads of other different things that happen to keep the club going round. And I think, and Gary, the club, I mean, Coatbridge Rovers is fantastic, and the way that it's set up, it's been great, and the support network there is fantastic, and you know that if there's anything, we can just come to you. But I've noticed a massive difference in, I suppose, the way that we work as a team in the last year, because we are a wee bit more, I suppose, comfortable with each other, that we're happy to say, right, can you help out with this, can you help me with that, and work it a wee bit better. And obviously COVID has given us additional remits and duties that I like to be known as chief sanitizer. That's my superpower now. So taking the temperatures and make sure the boys have get their hands sanitised is basically one of the extra remits that I suppose that we've got just now. But I have, in the last year, everything seems to have just come together, and I suppose that is obviously the group working together, and then the wider Coatbridge Rovers club, us working with Gary and knowing a lot of the other coaches and things. I think that makes a difference. So I've certainly noticed a huge difference in the last year.
Okay. I think we're running out of time, so what I'm going to do is go to the last question, and you can all just pat a chin, have a wee bit extra mash for the last 5 minutes. So over to budding reporter Carleen. So the last question comes to one of the parents.
Okay, so I think this comes from Tracy, one of the parents. So as volunteers who give up a lot of their own time, their family time and balance, this whilst working full time, it would be good to understand how you all manage to commit and how giving up that time is important to you all as coaches and officials.
Okay, I think that's a very, very good question. Let us get back to everybody else while I mess up. There we go. Live TV. So how do we manage to keep a work-life balance?
No idea.
You don't. The answer is you don't. Things come up and you deal with it. It's a very reactive world. But yeah, and it is for the love of the fact that the kids, you see the joy in their faces, and I think that's the main thing. You just fit it in, that's it.
Yeah, makes it worth it. The image of the swan with the feet going underneath like that seems to be a running theme.
I mean, I'll be honest.
Sorry, you go, Jimmy.
No, you go, Dale. Fire away.
I was just saying, I suppose it will, like for all of us, I'm assuming we've all got kids that play with the team. You're getting to spend some family time with them as well as it is, and getting a bit of social interaction with how they're getting on with their life as well. Because I know for a fact when I'm working some times like that, it's 24/7, so it's giving me that break to actually spend some time with my boy.
Yeah.
No, I was just going to say, obviously, I genuinely couldn't do it without the other guys on here. The support we're getting. I mean, even now, as Mary touched on there with the COVID stuff, we were running about. We weren't getting into parks, so we were. Somebody's got to go and set up some kind of goals. Somebody's trying to take temperature. Somebody's trying to set up a session with cones, and I mean, we couldn't do it if we weren't there as a team. I think that's the first thing. But it feels like as well, now we've got a good support network. I think Mary touched on it earlier. So if something's happening in the background, and to be fair, there's loads of things that parents just don't see. They see us turning up for a couple of sessions during the week in a game on a Saturday, and they think that's it, and it's genuinely not. There's things will come in, and you'll get different, because it's people you're dealing with. There's things can get thrown at you. People you get to know about the people, the kids themselves, and the circumstances, and you're maybe helping them out in the background on the QT that other folk don't know about. And having that support network now, with Dolan board now, Stephen and Mary, we can sort of bounce off each other, if you like. And it doesn't feel like, maybe probably 12, 15 months ago, it was probably just me doing all this myself, kind of hit my head off a wall. Whereas I've now got that support network. There's, I think a lot of people do underestimate the challenges. I mean, both myself and Stephen have changed jobs during lockdown, so we've been trying to take on new roles, and you're doing all this stuff, and it is a hell of a commitment. But touching on what I said earlier on about those little wins, those little victories, when you see a kid going and doing something and achieving it, it makes it all worthwhile. You kind of forget the genuinely sleepless nights and all the other things that come with it. You forget all that when you get just that, that smiling kid at the end of it.
Yep.
Yeah. I think for me, it all kind of goes back to the first question, which was, were you kind of brought up in and around football? And I'd like eat, sleep and breathe it, and maybe not quite so much anymore. But funnily enough, I think, fair enough, outside of the 3 hours or 4 hours we actually spend on the pitch with the kids, there is a lot of complexities and a lot of difficulties in there. But I think those 3-4 hours for me is actually my get away from my full-time job time, because we're actually making a difference for the kids and we're giving them the life values. We're showing them how to play football, which is a sport that we all love as well. So that's actually the hour where I'm not sitting on my phone flicking through social media. I'm not sitting on the phone dealing with awkward people. I'm getting to actually invest my time into kids, where I'm going, do you know what, seeing years to come, this kid's got something. Like, they could get somewhere and I can play my little part in that. So I think for me, that's my downtime, when we're actually on the pitch with the kids, helping them become better.
Do you agree with that, Gary? You're never off the pitch.
If there's an 8th day in the week, then I'm at coaching. So, from my point of view, I've now seen a massive change from my point of view. I've probably coached more than anybody's probably coached at the club, to be fair, in terms of the hours and the time, etc., that people put in. But see, if you put 1 hour in, it adds up to the exact same as what everybody else puts in. So I do it for the love of the game, is what you're saying, Stephen. It's fantastic. You get that wee bit of relief with focus. Last week we had a wee conversation about the mental health side of it. So your head could be in a place where you're maybe thinking about what's happening at work and what's happening in the house, etc. So that's your hour to get out the house and go and express, or going away for your computer at work or whatever you do in a job, to go and teach something that gets your head focused on. That's your development for the hour. And see, after it, you forget all about what's happened in the house or in your work, etc., because you then come on to a different day. But it's that balance, because I've got a wee boy and a wee girl. So my wee girl's at the stage where she's at the dancing stage. So it's finding that balance. And a Saturday morning I'm coaching Daniel, and then Eliane's away to her dancing. So during lockdown, it's been good for me to actually spend time in terms of seeing my wee girl develop her dancing skills, and Daniel doing obviously his football training as well. So it's gave me that wee insight. We do need to spend family time. So see, when I'm texting the coaches and the team secretaries, etc., and asking for things, they probably get really fed up with the constant questions, etc. But that's just the difference in terms of, I'm constantly on the ball in terms of I need things done yesterday, whereas I totally understand and I get that people have got family commitments and work commitments, etc. And we forget sometimes that we are actually all volunteers. And I think a lot of people don't understand that. They don't understand the actual word of the volunteer. They think that we're here and we should be answering things on the ball straight away, whereas it takes time. You know what I mean? So it's hard to find the balance, but I think it's a great question for Tracy, and it's a good insight to see what actually happens on a day-to-day basis in terms of what we're doing. As I say, when we're sitting probably in our work, we're answering either text messages, we're planning training sessions, we're organising the game for the weekend, we're maybe organising something else for the following week. It's all different wee things constantly happening, and always come up, and you've got to change this because maybe a couple of players can't make that, so you're trying to balance it for the clubs and the teams plus the parents as well. I think that's Mary's
this is
time
the balance
up.
that you have to get.
That's it. That's Mary's time up. That's
That's the middle one. That's him arrived. Guest appearance.
Speaking from a personal point of view, though, Gary, as well, I've not been there long at all, but it's been a baptism of fire. And I've had absolutely hundreds of time and thought, I'm going to do something. I'm going to volunteer and I'm going to do something, and I've got in and I've just wanted to do more and more and more and more because it grabs you. Like, it's not that you need to do it, it's you really want to do it.
Yeah. Because you see the different changes in people's happiness as well. You see people with smiles on their face, so that's why you do it. You know what I mean? You do it for that. You don't do it for yourself. You do it for the enjoyment of seeing other people progressing, and that's a massive thing about what the club's here for. You know what I mean? So
absolutely.
So I know good questions tonight. I enjoyed the questions, and I think we answered them really well.
Well, why don't you tell us a wee bit? Why don't you tell us a wee bit about the soccer centres?
Yep. So the soccer centres are going to be running partnership with the SFA and McDonald's. So it's a worldwide thing that a lot of clubs run these. There's different centres across different areas. So our centres quite quickly it turned over. I got a call last week for the SFA, good discussions, and we've come up with this. Why don't we add this into the area and get the kids some free football? It's open to anybody, whether it's somebody that's already within the club or it's somebody that's maybe thinking about trying something different to get involved in football. Plus, it could be anybody that's maybe playing with a club as well. It's a centre, so there's no going to be any games and etc. It's just all about coming along, having fun, and meeting friends and enjoying football, which we've obviously touched on tonight. So there's still time to come along to it. It's on a Monday night for 5-year-olds to 8-year-olds, and I choose it's on for 9-year-olds to 12-year-olds. As I said, it's an 8-week block, and it's completely free for kids to come along and try it. So the numbers have been good so far, and we've just established it, and let's see how this can kick on as well. So it's good to have that in the area.
Registered.
So they drop us an email at Coatbridge Rovers FC at outlook.com. I think we've had it on the screen a couple of times tonight, so you maybe see that on flying across the bottom at some point. I think Martin's good at this technology, so there it's coming up. So you can drop us an email, and as I say, I'll get back to you and welcome your kids along. It's open to boys and girls, so anybody's welcome.
Yep. So Monday for 5 to 8-year-olds.
Yep, and a Tuesday's 9-year-olds to
9 to 12-year-olds. No experience required.
Nope, all abilities are welcome.
Ideal. Well, I've got you here as well. Anything else has been going on? Anything you want to talk about the club's organising or dealing with?
So you've probably seen the social media page. We've now launched our Christmas toy appeal. So our toy appeal is now live for anybody that wants to get involved in it. anybody that even wants to donate any toys, they're welcome to get in contact with us. My mobile number's on the screen. Plus, you can drop the club an email, and I'll tie in to arrange to get the toys picked up or dropped off. As I say, I think this is going to be a massive challenge for everybody in life just now in terms of coming up to Christmas, and I think if we as a club can put something together to give to families that are maybe less fortunate this time of year, then it's a well rewarded position to be put in, to see the kids' faces on Christmas days with family members, etc. So it'll be very good. So if there's any businesses out there as well that's maybe want to get involved, to even have a toy collection that within your premises, within your workload or whatever, then get in contact with us, because we would be really interested to work together. It's not just about us as a club. I think it's about a community aspect in terms of getting it together for the community. So that's going to be kicking off very, very soon to get toys in, and the kids the coaches and parents are going to also record a Christmas song as well. So we're working on that in the background. So you'll be able to buy that very, very soon. As I say, this is going to be something that the kids can keep for life when they're growing up, and they can listen back and think what they've done in 2020 when we were facing difficult. So having that wee smile on their face and in years' time to come, they'll be able to look back and say they've helped somebody with providing something to somebody at Christmas. So that goes back to that life skill thing where we're trying to teach. It's not all about receiving, it's about giving as well, so that we're working together. So that's been kicking off, and hopefully, fingers crossed, that we try and get back to some sort of normality for games happening soon. But so that's where we're at as a club.
Brilliant. Well, again, like Gary says, if any businesses, any business people want to get involved, please drop us a line. It's Coatbridge Rovers FC, outlook.com. We'd be very, very grateful. Yep. So would the children of Coatbridge. Okay, right, let's get everybody in, because I've just learned how to do something. Look at this.
There we go.
There's Carleen.
Right, Carleen, who's your first Who's your first victory for the Big Brother house? And tell us the reason why. I think, yeah. So are we going to do the Kitroom challenge, Martin?
That's it, man. What I would say is that you're probably better off getting a pen and pencil. If you've not got one, you'll waste time.
A pen and pencil? What are we writing on? Are we writing on the pen or writing on the pencil?
You're right on the pen.
One job, I had one job. One job, Matt.
One job, I had one job.
One job.
That wasn't in the script, was it? Yeah, I read
Take the mic. Anyway.
Right. Did anybody tune in last week? Did anybody tune in for last week's show and see the challenge that we had done?
No,
Mary looks absolutely scared here. She looks terrified.
And I've gone digital too. I don't know if this is a smart move.
So this is a bragging rights for your age level, to see who's the actual overall winner from your age level. So it's all fun, all right. So don't be scared, all right. Girls like that, right? How did I get myself out of this club quickly?
Change my mind.
So last week's show, we do the name, what it says in the title of the shows, what we're actually going to do. So there's a Kitroom, all right. So there's 5 rounds, so you get 60 seconds, all right, to go and find something within your household and bring it back into the screen, all right. There's 5 points for the person that brings it back first. There's 3 points for the person that brings it. No, what is it? 10 points, Martin? Is it 10?
10, 5.
10 for the first person. 5 for the second person, and 0 par for the third person. All right, or the fourth person. So this is to see who. Last week we had Lynn for the Girls Academy. She was the winner, and she managed to. I'm not.
Mary's got 3 helpers, by the way.
No,
But
that's
I'm
got to be
not
yourself.
concerned. I'll not be able. The stuff's far away from me. I'm going to need to run fast.
Last week, Carleen, where were you?
I'm sorry, guys. My Wi-Fi's
Carleen, where were you?
No, your Wi-Fi's fine.
So,
I need to enlist the help.
Where were you, Carleen?
I was in the loft. I had to go down the stairs.
So, was surprised that I said I'm not in my own house?
No.
I'm just so the first Jamie. I went to his house for this.
Okay.
You're sharing Wi-Fi.
Over to Gary.
So first round. Okay. So first question is, I want you to go and find something within your household that you would use when you're on holiday. Go.
iPad.
Man's got thinking.
Oh, 3 are away running.
iPad.
Template.
Oh, that was
what have you
close.
got? I'm going. Stephen, what did you bring back?
I brought deodorant, mate. You always need good deodorant on holiday.
Okay. What? I always look female. Sure, deodorant right enough.
I would challenge that.
Mary, what did you bring?
I would say you use that every day, Stephen.
Aye, so you
what did you get, Mary?
Then?
Sunscreen.
Oh, listen, that's
a good one.
Right, Jamie, what did you get?
Toothbrush.
Yep. And
that's my holiday. I'm challenging. Do you not use these every day?
Well,
that's my holiday.
Dale was actually back first. Dale actually got back. He brought his iPad. Yep. So
they were sitting in front of you.
He's got 10 points.
Right, my lap, mate. I'm
going to give Mary and Stephen 5 points. Jamie, you were unfortunate. You were
yes.
So you were. So next round, okay, is you've got 60 seconds. It can't be within the same room that you're in. Okay, you want to go and find your favourite CD or go. 60 seconds.
CD, wait, you.
60 seconds. Go. Hurry up, Jamie. You're bottom.
It's got to be a music CD, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
Mate, I don't have a CD.
There we go. Is that a record, Mary?
Hey!
Yes.
Incidentally, I'm going to see her.
I've got to go to the shops, and that's not essential.
I'll get that album on this phone.
I'm just got tickets to go and see her.
No. So, Jamie, what did you bring back?
None, because I've not got any CDs, because I'm living in 2020,
So what's that? 0?
Round 2, 0 points again for Jamie.
Yes.
Stephen, what did you bring back?
No a CD anyway.
You're definitely. You're 0 points.
Dale,
what did you bring back? Dale, what CD's that, Dale?
Killer CD.
The Killers. Well done. 5 points to Dale.
Dale, you told me last week you don't like the Killers.
I've talking the CD.
that was the question.
Mary, what's that? Blondie.
Is that LP?
So we're going to throw in a bonus point, right? I'm going to give you 5 bonus points to. So Stephen, if you sing 30 seconds a Killers song, I'll give you a bonus 5 points. And Mary, if you sing a verse 30 seconds a Blondie song, you'll get 5 points. Who's going first?
Right. I'll set this one out.
So you didn't have any CDs. I'm all kidding.
You wouldn't want to get me started.
Even you.
I really hope. I'm hopeful that John's going to need help with this CD, and I'm going to get a call in.
Right, round 3. Oh, we got a wee update, Martin, in the score.
Just to clarify, did we give points for a record when it was a CD? Yes.
I'm really old.
I did say that. I did say a record or a CD.
Points.
Did you? Right, okay.
I'd say a record gets double points, by the way.
Nah. You don't get any points, Stephen. Okay, Stephen, double points in that round, so 0-0 for Stephen.
0-0, there you go. Yep. Right, okay. We've got Mary's on 15, Dale's on 15, Stephen's got 5, and Jamie's got 2 zeros. Sorry, mate.
Jamie, this is where it all turns. All turns good for you, Jamie, this one. Okay, so this round, I want you to go to the kitchen and bring back your favourite meal that you like. Go, 60 seconds, go.
Favourite meal?
Favourite food that you like, then. Oh. Is that a pizza, Mary? Is that a pizza? Oh, bacon.
That was a good statement. Oh, that's good.
That's that food.
Oh, we've got another pizza. Another pizza. So, first back was Mary. What did you bring back? That was a pizza. Okay. 10 points for Mary. Second, Dale.
Who got that one, Mary? Was it Evan?
It was a dog.
Dale's brought back bacon, so 5 points to Dale. Stephen, what did you bring back?
Pizza.
Alright, but unfortunately there's only 2 prizes, so you were third.
I had to go down the stairs and everything for that.
Listen, that's part of the exercise. And Jamie, what did you bring back?
It was just a starter I brought back.
Unfortunately, 0 points.
Did you have to come to your table, Jamie?
So, Mary get 10, Dale get 5, and Hoddit and Doddit get 0. Jack and Victor. The Waynes are going to be calling you Jack and Victor. Right, so next, question 4. Question 4, or round 4, shall we say. Oh, look, Stephen trying to get a head start there. Did you see that?
Eat a pizza.
So, I want you to go and find something, related, something that is related to Coatbridge Rovers. It could be anything at all what you relate to Coatbridge Rovers. Go.
Outside the room.
Oh, look at that.
Surely I've got to win that one.
Well, Jamie's actually got the top one, so.
I came back with my top second. Mary was last.
Stuart's inquiry.
Dale's no move.
Dale's watched last week's show and went, I'm getting everything decided. So, Jamie, I'm going to give you 10 points there, right, Jamie? Because you were sitting with your Coatbridge Rovers top on, so good advertisement for the club, Jamie. 10 points, that's you off the bottom. Stephen, you're still bottom with 0 because you were, I would say, third back there, right? Maybe tied with Mary coming back there, so
right,
there was a tie. No. And second was Dale. Oh, no, Dale was sick because Dale had everything. Dale's Coatbridge Rovers living room now. He's got everything.
Aye. Wallpaper.
I know he's new to the podcast, but he's making this up quickly, isn't he? Stuart's inquiry, man.
Right, in the fifth and last round, okay, but I want to be updating the scores.
Alrighty. Last place, Stephen's got 5. Jamie's got 10. And Dale and Mary are tying on 25.
Oh.
Okay, this round.
Tell you one thing, it must be great having 25 points without leaving the chair, Dale, eh?
What can I see? My house is up.
I'm ready to face it. I'm ready to face it. You're sitting there killing.
Alright, this one's coming. He needs to move this time. He needs to move this time, so don't worry. So, if we all get a pen and paper.
Right.
On a pen and pencil. Shut up, Carleen.
So, this round, okay. This round is worth 30 points, okay, and it's only the first person back, right? So this is winner takes all here, right? So I want you to write something on a bit of paper that you've got in your garden that you're going to bring back into the house and show us. All right, so you need to show us on the screen what you're going to get. Okay, 60 seconds, go.
Can you see mine?
He said go.
Mine's is a leaf.
Right, go and get it. Jamie, what have you got?
Well, leave the house and go and get it.
If you want me to do it, I'll do it.
That was original.
Oh. Jesus Christ.
You never go home, did you?
Do you know what have you got?
What about
What's that?
Jamie's got a pen. Right, so we have an overall winner for the 2010s, alright? So the person that takes the crown for the 2010s is Mary. Well done, Mary. You're the overall winner. Well done.
Well done.
Well done.
There's a whistle.
That's me eliminated now.
Game over. Right. Thanks everybody for coming along. Mary, Club Secretary. Dale.
Thank you.
Stephen. Jamie. And for me and Gary. We'll try and get this done next week. I think next week we might have some special guests, Gary.
Yes. I think we've got a couple of guests for another club that are going to come on. So hopefully we get that tied up this week, and we'll be able to share who's coming on the show. So, as you said earlier, anybody's got any questions, then feel free to get them in. Ideas that they want to see on the show, then drop us a wee message, and we're happy to have a discussion.
Yep, absolutely.
All right, thanks.
All right, thanks very much, Gary. Catch you next week.
No problem. Stay safe.
You too.